Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our course orientation today. We'll be focusing on BSB410, the Certificate for in Business Administration. My name is Tim Stalker. I am one of the course advisors here at Let Training. Joining me today, I have one of our trainers, Ray McCall. Ray, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure, Tim. Thank you for inviting me to join with you.
No problem. So before we begin, Ray, for those people who might not have had any dealings with you previously, could you possibly give us a bit of maybe backstory for you? What areas were you in with business admin before you became one of our trainers?
Certainly. In a range of positions across both for-profit and not-for-profit organisations, certainly in the scope of different sectors that I've been involved in, responsible for administration of multi-million-dollar businesses, and those sectors range from hospitality, hotels and casinos, through education services, including offshore joint venture projects, facility services, and more recently, community services. Those responsibilities have been in a combination of both revenue-generating profit centres and corporate service centres, corporate support services as well.
Fantastic. So before we get into the orientation, a little bit of housekeeping for everyone in chat. Feel free to ask questions at any time. We will answer as many as we can. If the answer requires a little bit more of an in-depth response, one of the course advisors who's also monitoring the chat might get in contact with you, ask to provide us with some details, maybe a phone number or an email address, and we'll get in touch with you after the orientation and provide you with a more in-depth answer. We also will pause the orientation at a couple of stages, just so that way if there are any questions from chat we can help with, then you're more than welcome to ask them. But as we said, today we are focusing on the Certificate for in Business Administration. This is a level 4 qualification under the Australian Qualifications Framework. Now, this course can be enrolled without previous experience, be it study or work history, and that sets this course apart from later level courses, for example, the Advanced Diploma of Business, which do have entry requirements in it. The Certificate for in Business is good for those who either are just starting out in admin roles or are looking to potentially increase their admin skills, as the units, the skills you'll be learning in this course are all about supporting administration functions rather than manage, which is what is covered in the diploma course. We'll talk more about the units later, but for now, we'll just move into the career outcomes. Now, as we see here, we have a couple of career outcomes listed, but by no means are these all the career outcomes that could potentially be achieved from completing this course, correct?
That's correct, Tim. I think it certainly complements those people who perhaps work in corporate services. So if I talk about HR, given the strong business partnership focus in contemporary management, that then having an understanding of business administration to complement the likes of an HR business partner or a WHS officer is quite significant. And the one thing that I'd qualify at this stage that, particularly from the pitching of the qualification, administration doesn't necessarily just mean filling in forms. Administration here, in the bigger picture, also takes a larger focus, contemplating setting up administrative systems, looking at compliance and quality management systems for a business entity in itself.
Right, and I think we'll come into that right now, because the next section we'll be talking about is the course outline. And as we see here, there are 12 skills in this course that we've divided up here into functional skills and professional skills. This is a nationally recognised qualification, and you'll receive 12 months to complete it, so be looking at completing one of these units every month. Now, Ray, having a look at these skills, particularly the professional skills, just for a moment, we've spoken to a lot of people as course advisors, and one thing they say is they look at certain skills here. Develop and use emotional intelligence being a good one there. And they say, is that really going to affect me working in an admin role? Would you say that develop and use emotional intelligence is an important skill for people to develop?
critical in what's referred to as the 21st century skills for the future. And if I just cast everyone's eye across to the functional area of build and maintaining business relationships, critical from a business perspective. So being able to negotiate and influence with others, which is all part and parcel of using emotional intelligence, is critical for success in business, in the business world these days. And again, if I pick through other units that are listed as professional skills, as I alluded to a moment ago, business administration is much more than just filling in forms. It's about creating the systems that enable the effective, efficient and profitable administration of a business, so that as a business partner, and I'll use that expression, that then your ability to coordinate those systems is critical, which links in with being able to create complex text documents, and that may be all of the supporting documentation that sits around a quality management system. And again, interconnectivity with the likes of organising business meetings, that again, it's all about being able to use your emotional intelligence to facilitate the optimal outcomes. So incredible integration there, and critical.
Fantastic. Now, we did just get a question there in chat regarding how many hours of study do you recommend per unit? Now, for this course, we recommend people complete between 10 to 15 hours of study a week, which would work out to roughly 40 to 60 hours of study per unit. Now, we understand that's a very wide spectrum of hours there. It's a large difference, but this factors in people who are starting this course with previous admin experience. So they may be able to get through some of the units a little bit quicker, whereas people who are entering this without previous admin experience might take a little bit longer. And that's why we recommend 10 to 15 hours of study a week. This is by no means a specific target. People have gone through it a lot quicker. People have needed a little bit more time each week. So really, it's up to the individual learner how quickly they go through each unit. But that's the rough idea. We give 40 to 60 hours of study for each of the skills there. Now, Ray, these skills can be completed in any order. Is there any particular unit you would recommend students start from in this course?
Look, in casting my eye down the functional skill column, I'd zero in on build and maintain business relationships. And the reason I say that, it then gives the benchmark for the scope of what we're talking about in terms of stakeholders that you will be communicating with, responsible for influencing, and potentially accountable to. So it perhaps in my mind gives you that full breadth of what the subject matter area focuses on.
Fantastic. Now, all 12 units must be completed in order to obtain your certificate 4. In the event that you don't finish all of the units within 12 months and you decide you don't want a course extension, a statement of attainment will be provided to you so long as you have completed 1 unit. So all you need to do is complete 1 unit and you'll get your statement of attainment. And we'll just stop here for a moment. We'll see if there are any other questions coming through in chat we can help with. Do we have a question here? My employer is upskilling me. Can you do invoices? We certainly can provide you an invoice for this course. All you need to do is get in touch with our course advisors. They'll need to take a couple of pieces of information from you, and we can get an invoice to you on the same business day. We'll move on now to the next section of this orientation, and that is on the learning facilitation model. We previously said the course is 100% online. Once you receive your login details, you can log into your learning portal anywhere, so long as you have a computer and reliable internet access. We currently have students that are studying overseas. These students are in the Defence Forces, or they are working overseas at the moment. You do need to be an Australian citizen or permanent resident, or have visa conditions that allow you to study within Australia, not a student visa. All of your learning and assessment materials are available to you when you log in, so you are able to go through your resources and submit your assessments at any stage that you'd like. One other thing that we have here is on our webinars. Now, we provide a series of webinars to help supplement our resource material that we provide to you. Ray, you're involved with a lot of the webinars. What are some of the ones pertaining to the business admin course you've done recently?
That's correct. We actually have two streams of webinars. One is relating to the completion of assessment tasks, and we'll talk in a moment about assessment. But those particular webinars zero in on unpacking or deconstructing the requirements of the various projects for units. So it's designed to guide the learner through what the requirements are for assessment. The other stream are webinars that are topic related, and they zero in on either aspects of particular units or, looking holistically, tips and hacks around how to undertake various business related tasks. Some examples of those that I've undertaken more recently, things like, you know, developing communication plans, developing action plans, writing business reports, those sorts of things that tie in with those complex tech documents and their creation. You will have seen the professional skill around HR services and functions. I've done a whole suite of webinars around the Australian Fair Work System, which is the national workplace relations system currently, that certainly governs the majority of workers from an HR point of view in terms of Australia. I've done then webinars, and again, picking up on that theme of HR, around differentiating between onboarding, induction and orientation, as well as a whole raft of webinars around particular business analysis techniques, things like undertaking what's known as a SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats analysis, or an external environmental, what we call a PEST analysis, being able to analyse the external environment in terms of political, economic, social and technological factors. So very applied styles of sessions.
Fantastic. Now, students will receive notice of upcoming webinars that relate to the Certificate 4 in Business Admin course, and you'll be able to follow along with them live. Alternatively, if you can't watch them live, that's no problem. We will provide you a link, and you will be able to watch them at your leisure at a later time. Also, we have here some information about your tutor or your trainer that you will be assigned at enrolment. Now, the trainers are available from 9 AM to 5:30 PM, Monday to Friday. That is Sydney local time. So if you are in a state on a different time zone to Sydney, please make sure that you take that into consideration when booking in your support services. Now, there are multiple methods by which a trainer or tutor can be contacted. If it's a very quick question, regarding resource material or an assessment attempt, you can call us. You can call the office. If your trainer is available, we can put you through to them. Alternatively, we might also be able to put you through to a different trainer that studies the same course, that trains the same course. Alternatively, most students will choose to email their trainer. Emails are responded to within 1 to 2 business days. Or if you would like a bit more in-depth support, or if you'd like a bit more clarification, you are also able to book in a Zoom or a phone support session. We recommend booking these a couple of days in advance, and they will be 30 minutes long. And Ray, as one of the trainers here, we often say that students are able to get through quite a bit of information in that 30 minutes, but it really depends on how prepared they are for the session, correct?
That's imperative, Tim. So again, arm yourself with all of the specific questions that you have, very focused in terms of whether it be particular aspects or sections or tasks of assignments, so that again, and the ideal as well is to provide the trainer that you're working with information in advance, so that both parties are coming prepared and can optimise the time that's available.
Fantastic. One other thing to keep in mind is that all of these support services LET training offers are free. They are included in the general course fees. So there is no extra charges for any of our support services. Moving on here, we have been discussing assessments a little bit, and here's some more information on them now. There are 2 assessments for each of the units you'll be studying. The first one is a knowledge assessment, where you'll be answering a series of short questions. Now, one of the things I get asked all the time, no, there are no multiple choice answers in these assessments. I'm sorry about that, but there's also no essay length answers either. We'll be asking for explanations, outlines, or even lists. Ray, these are specifically designed so trainers know that a student has read and understood the resource material, correct?
That's correct. And it also gives the learner an oversight in terms of understanding the nature and scope of the program to then apply that helicopter vision to the project that they need to complete.
Fantastic, fantastic. And after that, they then move on to their practical project. Now, their practical project doesn't require a classroom, work site, or work placements. Some of these are going to involve interactive tasks with their trainer. What are some of the things that a student could be asked to complete as one of these tasks?
Sure. From an interactive point of view or role playing, it may involve the likes of delivering a presentation on a nominated subject matter area related to the content of the unit. It could be to do with facilitating a consultation meeting with a manager, a senior manager, to negotiate an outcome based on the work that they're doing. It can be delivering a training session, conducting a meeting, a whole raft of situations which will demonstrate the learner's skills, particularly the oral communication skills.
Fantastic. Now, these assessment tasks are marked on a competent, not yet competent scale, but you do get multiple attempts. So if after the first attempt you're not yet considered competent, the trainer recommends you have another go at it. That's completely fine. You can have up to 3 attempts to begin with, and after those attempts, all we do is to put a temporary hold on the assessment task, and then you will be scheduled with a 30-minute support session with your trainer, after which you'll then be given more attempts after that. So don't worry, it's not a case of you only get 1 attempt for any of the assessment tasks. You always give multiple attempts. One other thing to point out is that students can't use prior work history for these practical assessment tasks. We do give case studies and simulated workplace events, and this is done so all students are marked on the same criteria. So that way, as we've said before, people coming into this course with prior experience and people who come into this course with no prior experience are marked exactly the same way. We'll just hold for a moment here and see if there are any questions. I see we do have a question here in chat. Let's just have a look. Is there a webinar for every unit in this course? Ray, that might be something you can help with. Is there a webinar available for all of the units in this course?
Yes, typically there's a suite of webinars available, and you as an enrolled learner will receive the overview. What we do is, as all of the webinars are delivered, they are mapped back to relevant units. So, for example, things like writing business reports may apply to assessment tasks in a variety of units, or developing an action plan may be applicable too. Same thing from a human resource point of view. So, and again, like I said, there are 2 streams, those applied topics as well as the deconstructing the assessment tasks, and you'd be provided with the information so far as the relevant units and the links, the YouTube links to the webinars at time of enrolment, and updated throughout your program.
Fantastic. So we'll just hold another moment here and see if there are any other questions in chat, and if not, we'll move on to the next section. Okay, there doesn't appear to be any questions, so we'll move on to the next section now. And the next section is on other assessment pathways. Now, we haven't discussed completing assessment tasks, but there are other ways through which you can finish the units, and some of these are listed here. So the first one we have listed here is a credit transfer. Now, a credit transfer rate, that is directly focused on previous study a student's completed, correct?
That's correct, and specifically study competency outcomes in the vocational education and training, or VET sector. So we're looking at comparing apples for apples, for want of a better expression, in terms of units. So I'll pick write complex documents. You have completed write complex documents as part of an enrolment with another organisation, registered training organisation, and you have a statement of attainment or transcript or record of results that that denotes a competency achievement, you can apply for credit transfer to avoid having to redo, as it were, the unit. It may be that you've done a superseded version, as in because the training packages or curricula that we work to are constantly evolving. In many cases, the units are superseded and deemed equivalent. And it's important that they are both superseded and equivalent. And also, if you have, for example, completed the unit some time ago, we're talking 2012, 2013, you will need to demonstrate evidence of current application of that skill.
Fantastic. Now, these assessments for credit transfers can be completed prior to enrolment. All you would need to do is email through your transcripts. That can come from either the institute you've studied at or through the USI themselves. We can assess that, and we can let you know within 1 to 2 business days on if there is any potential credit transfers prior to enrolment. After enrolment, you would just need to provide a certified copy of those transcripts. And as we see here, this assessment has no additional fees on it. Now, this is in comparison to a recognition of prior learning or an RPL assessment. Now, an RPL assessment, Ray, that focuses more on skills developed in the workforce, correct?
That's correct, and able to be evidenced using actual workplace evidence. So you won't necessarily, or you haven't got a transcript from another registered training organisation, but however, you do have substantial experience and you believe that you meet the requirements of the unit in which you're enrolled. So if I give you an example, you will have recall there was organised business meetings as a professional skill in the Certificate 4 in Business Administration. You may have, for example, been responsible for coordinating meetings within your organisation, and you have a whole raft of evidence, including venue bookings, catering bookings, communications with stakeholders, calls for meeting agenda items, meeting agendas that you've developed, meeting minutes that you've recorded during the course of the meeting. You finalised and distributed those meeting minutes, and you can show the whole audit trail of all activities associated with coordinating business meetings. Then that's the sort of thing that we talk about in terms of workplace evidence that would support an RPL application.
Right, okay. Now, the initial consultation can be made prior to enrolment. That is normally done over the phone. It takes around 15 to 20 minutes with one of our trainers. We'd recommend providing some information there, like a current job description or a current resume. After this initial consultation, the trainer can advise you of any particular areas where there might be the opportunity for RPL. After enrolling, your trainer will then provide you with a list of specific pieces of workplace evidence you might be required to obtain. Upon submission of this evidence, there is a fee that is incurred. Now, that fee does vary based on the number of units that you would be requesting for an RPL assessment for, and the trainer or the admin team would be happy to provide you with the total amount for the RPL assessment. The fees are also available in our course information booklets, and you can always talk to the course advisors about those fees as well. Now, one other option we have listed there as well, Ray, is gap training. Now, this is where a student doesn't have quite all of the necessary skills to complete a unit, but they might need to do maybe an assessment just to sort of make up the difference. Is that correct?
That's correct, where they've applied for RPL, that they're able to successfully prove a certain number of elements of competency, as we refer to them, but there are some essential gaps or deficiencies. So if I use the business meeting example, you've done all of the preparatory work, however, you can't demonstrate actually having prepared and finalised, had approved and distributed meeting minutes. So we would arrange a partial RPL based on the evidence you provided, and then provide you with relevant learning and assessment resources to demonstrate competency in that gap area. And then collectively, we would finalise a competency outcome for you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, moving on here to support services. We offer multiple support services for students here. Then it isn't just support from your trainer. In the event that you have any questions regarding the technical nature of the website, so if there are any issues with the online learning portal, or perhaps if you need to talk to our accounts team, you can always contact us by the number there, 0296333929. The office is available Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Those hours are Sydney hours. Before you enroll, if you have any questions regarding the course, you can always contact the course advisors at that number as well, or you can email us at enquire@lettraining.com.au. We also have a Facebook group available for peer support for students, and these groups are broken up into Certificate 4, Diploma, and Advanced Diploma. Now, in the event that you are ready to enroll in the course, there are several ways by which you can do it. The first, as we see here, is on our website. And all you need to do is visit that link there. And you are looking for the nationally recognized training logo there and click the Enroll Now button. That will take you through to the enrollment section of our website, and it should take no more than 5 to 10 minutes to complete the enrollment process. Alternatively, you are able to enroll via email. There is an enrollment form attached to every course information pack that we send out. So if you are ready to enroll, all you need to do is fill that form out and email it back to us. Either way, your enrollment will be processed within 1 business day, and you will receive your login details and your trainer's contact details via email. If you have any need for support or assistance with the enrollment process, you can contact us by phone. Either the course advisors or the admin team will be happy to help you out. And our number again there is 029633 3929. If you are going to enroll with Let Training, you might like to use one of our payment plans. You do have the option to pay for the course upfront in full, but alternatively, you can choose to pay it off. We have several different options available. We've got them listed here. There are 2 options where you can pay 50% upfront and then the remainder within 30 to 60 days. Alternatively, you can request to pay an upfront payment and then follow that off with monthly, fortnightly, and weekly installments. Now, in the event that you potentially would like to customize a payment plan, all you would need to do is talk to the course advisors or to our admin or accounts teams. For example, you might like to pay off a little bit more each week and pay for the course off quicker. That's completely fine. We would be able to work that out for you. The only thing that we will need to point out is that the upfront payment must remain. So you must do those for, in this case, $150 upfront. But for the installments following, we would be happy to try and customize for you. We're now approaching the end of our orientation today, so I'll just pause for a moment and see if there are any other questions from chat that we can help with at this time. Doesn't appear to be any other questions at this time. Thank you, chat. So with that in mind, we will now start to wrap up the orientation for this morning. If you do have any questions after viewing this orientation, please get in contact with us. We're happy to help you. You can email the course advisors. There is our email address, enquire@lettraining.com.au. Or again, you can reach us by phone, 029633 3929. Or you can even ask us on Facebook at Let Training 1. But with no other questions coming through in chat, we'll finish up now. This has been the orientation for the Certificate 4 in Business Administration, which is BSB40120. I'd like to thank Ray for his time this morning. Thanks a lot, Ray.
My pleasure completely, Tim, and I look forward to welcoming new learners to Let Training and supporting their program progress.
Fantastic. Well, my name is Tim Stalker. I'm one of the course advisors here at Let Training. This has been the orientation for the Certificate 4 in Business Admin. Thanks a lot for your attention and have a great day.